Welcome to this deep dive. We're looking at a really interesting essay today. It's called You Are a Book of Stories, Not a Novel.
Yeah, and it's one of those sources that right away makes you think differently. It questions the, common idea that our lives just follow the straight line.
Like a novel plot.
Yeah,
Chapter 1 leads neatly to Chapter 2, and so on.
exactly. And this essay argues that seeing life that way, well, it's not just wrong, it actually holds you back. We get stuck, kind of tied to who we used to be.
Right, clinging to an old version. So our goal here is to unpack why the essay thinks we do this.
Mm-hmm. And also how maybe thinking of your life as more of a book of stories could be, well, more freeing for you.
Okay, so let's really get into that main idea, that metaphor. Life isn't a novel, a single, smooth story.
No, the argument is it's much more like a collection, a book of stories. Think different tales, maybe even different genres side by side.
They're like short stories, not necessarily connected.
Pretty much. They're all between the same two covers, that's you, but they don't need a single plot tying every single one together perfectly.
Okay. And the source points out some specific habits we have that force these separate stories back into that rigid novel shape, things that keep us stuck in the past.
It highlights three main ones. The first is kind of fascinating. We sometimes subconsciously make problems.
Big problems. Wait, why on earth would we do that?
Well, the essay suggests it comes from an old script, maybe feeling like we need to be overcoming something constantly. Or it's based on old ideas about ourselves, things people said.
So if things are going too well, it feels wrong. Like it doesn't fit the character we think we are.
Sort of, yeah. It's uncomfortable because it doesn't match the expected struggle narrative.
Wow. Okay. And that leads into the second habit it mentions, avoiding or even like wrecking things that seem too perfect.
Exactly. If something genuinely good happens, something that doesn't fit that old, maybe negative self-image.
That internal character sketch.
Right. We might unconsciously push it away, sabotage it even. It just doesn't fit the story we think we're supposed to be living. We put a ceiling on our own happiness.
So we're actively blocking good things because they don't match the old narrative.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
And the third habit the essay talks about is this constant inner monologue, the summarizing.
The voice in your head telling your life story.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
It's always running, judging choices, not based on what feels right now, but on how it'll sound later, how it fits the overall novel.
So we're writing plot summaries for a character we might have outgrown.
You got it. We're editing our present and future to match a past self.
And the result of all this, making problems, dodging good stuff, always summarizing for the past is, well, we live by an old script.
Yeah, we limit what we let ourselves do or feel because it doesn't track with the biography we mentally wrote years ago.
The essay really stresses, though, that you can't always draw neat lines from your past to your present.
Mm-hmm. Different truths about you can exist at the same time. They can even seem contradictory, but both be valid right now.
Life isn't some faded old photo. It's supposed to be vivid, changing, unpredictable.
Totally. But we often filter our current experiences through those old lenses, those subconscious beliefs about who we should be.
Instead of who we actually are or could become.
Right. But, and this is key, the source says you are in charge of how your book of stories unfolds.
There's agency there.
Definitely.
Hmm.
But, and it's a big but, that inner narrator, the one doing the summarizing, it needs to be willing to actually let go.
Let go of the old chapters to write the new ones properly.
Exactly. You can't genuinely write chapter 10 if you're still trying to force it to sound just like chapter 1.
Okay, so wrapping up, the core message seems to be, life isn't one fixed novel. It's this collection of stories.
Yeah, a dynamic collection. And you do hold the pen for the next story.
But only if you stop trying to make everything fit the narrative you decided on way back when.
It's about letting that internal voice catch up to the present.
So here's a final thought for you to consider. What old story, what old narrative might you be holding on to so tightly that it's stopping you from writing your next, maybe totally unexpected chapter?